Hello folks, welcome back to my commentary of Call of Duty Black Ops, Further the PlayStation 3. Right, in case you're wondering, there's a second part because I couldn't quite fit everything in with the whole profile coverage and everything like that. So, what I'm going to be focusing on here for the second part is just basically some of the films that I've managed to capture. Now, both old and recent alike, so without further ado, let's get started. Right, the very first one I thought I might as well show is the first match here. Literally, the first match. Yeah, I don't know why I've kept this for so long, but I suppose part of it is just for nostalgia's sake. I mean, when you think about it, this is probably, I think it's over 2 years old, this. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I think this was captured way back in July of 2011, so this was only about 8 months, I think. Yeah, 8 months after Call of Duty Black Ops was released. I think. Yeah, that'd be correct. For a second, I was thinking, wait, wasn't Black Ops released on 2011? But no, now I'm thinking, nah, because Call of Duty Ghost being released, which by the way I will be doing a commentary on once I've got a few months into it. You know, I was thinking, you know, then wouldn't it be Modern Warfare 3 that was released in 2011? In which, yes, it was, so that was a bit of a terrible moment there. But anyway, yeah, I have to admit, for my very first match here, I don't know how I would really sum it up. I mean, compared to all the other first matches, I mean, in Modern Warfare 2, I done quite piss poor, I only got about 0.89 ratio, and Black Ops, however, that's much different than that, because what I ended up was somewhere about a 2.3 ratio, which I actually consider much more superior to Modern Warfare 3 as a whole. Though I don't know exactly if it's just because, you know, I gave it a lot of practice, which what I actually did was that prior to playing Black Ops, I don't know, because I got the game way back in 2010, December, and I actually gave a fuck ton of practice and just playing combat training and zombies, and I think probably that helped a lot, and because bear in mind, Black Ops, as I believe it to be, is vastly different from Modern Warfare 2. Which, that's something that bothered me about Black Ops 2 when I played it, because I don't know if it just, you know what Black Ops 2 felt like? It felt more like a bit like Modern Warfare 3.5. Although before anyone gets on to me, yeah, you could say the same about Modern Warfare 3 being Modern Warfare 2.5. However, I felt there was enough to justify that because, well, there's enough to justify Black Ops 2 being Modern Warfare 3.5, because I felt the only noticeable differences were the futuristic settings and maybe the one unique mode of, what was it called, Tri-Team something like that, where basically it's like a 9-team deathmatch, apart from it's 3 Team A versus 3 Team B versus 3 Team C, and that, which that's made things quite interesting. So it's not like just a typical Team A versus Team B sort of thing. There was actually 3 teams fighting out each other at once, you know. That made it actually interesting. I have to admit, I did try it. It was, you know, quite intriguing to some extent. But would I say, you know, that made it unique enough to be played? Being honest, I'd have to argue that for the most part I could never really get into Black Ops 2, especially when the first couple months where there was just all the pro guys around. I'll admit, I may sound like I'm a bit of a desperado when it comes to kill deaths and all the ratios and that, because I don't suppose I've told you this before, but part of what made me so finicky about ratios in the first place was just how I think what annoys me is that you see people who boast a high win ratio, but they only do that because they're part of a clan. Now, what if you had one guy who's got a really good kill death ratio, and now one guy, may not be enough to win the match, but if you had a whole team of those, you're gonna get a fucking killer clan right there. And I'll admit, maybe I would love to join a clan of people who are really good at that, because there's been a few times I've been fucked over by well-organised clans, and it made me think, what if I was part of a well-organised clan? And this shit would never really happen. And but unfortunately, I've never been the one to kind of like, join up with folk. I've always been more of a lone wolf, and because I think when I see as a whole, and I tend to work better on my own, and for the most part that's true, But anyway, as you can see here in the ratios and that, it's not exactly impressive compared to a couple of other team members, but bear in mind that this was the very first time that I'd ever played online, so I was like, what was I expect? And it was the very, very first time that I'd ever done any sort of online multiplayer on Black Ops that wasn't, that wasn't zombies. So I think, being honest, I did pretty well for my first go. How well? I'll leave up to some folk, but But yeah, I'm thinking, for what I'm seeing here, and Black Ops is probably, arguably, my favourite Call of Duty. And not because it's different from Modern Warfare 2, Modern Warfare 3, or Black Ops 2, although that is a supporting point. It's also primarily due to the fact, and I hate to say it like this, but I think it's partly due to the fact that I could do so well in it. So there's that. Anyway, that's my first match. Now it's time to show you folks something a bit more recent than that. Now, I don't suppose I've told you folks that when I played Modern Warfare 2, the highest kills I ever got up till then was about 45. Still the best ratio I've ever gotten, 45 ratio, flawed. But it was a very good match nonetheless, because I absolutely destroyed people with the AC-130s that I was getting, I only got one legit AC-130, but both care packages had AC-130s, and I absolutely destroyed people. And yeah, before people ask, yeah, this match started off really good actually, but for some reason the first 2 minutes got cut off it, so yeah. Anyway, what I was going to say was, Modern Warfare 2, up until past few months, I've always held the highest kills in a match. But when this came along, it's the weirdest match, because I expected it to be a high. When I did well like this, I expected, this is going to be maybe the second professional that I've done, which is basically very more kills without a single death, sort of thing, or something like that. But it turned out I actually got about a real large amount of kills, and I was just a bit taken off. It was only about a couple of kills, but it was still something. And it beats Modern Warfare 3, where I've only got 36, or Black Ops 2, where I've only got some like 29. Compared to those two, Modern Warfare 2 and Black Ops both beat them by a far stretch. And yeah, part of why I also like Black Ops is just how familiar I am with the maps. All the hot spots and clever strategy bits. I know pretty much the vast majority of them. Although that's not enough to say that I'm going to be like in any sort of clan tournaments or, you know, being in a clan of sorts, because I just don't think, you know, it's my kind of thing. And I play Call of Duty. As much as it may sound to some people, I play it for fun, although my part of fun is being able to do well. So, you know, maybe to some that might just be the typical Call of Duty sort of thing. And also, yeah, on a side note, yeah, it's not often you get paired 1 against 6 and that, so I admit this is probably where you might see me getting a bit unusually defensive, per se. Because you can see here that I'm like trying to like be on the defensive side. And you know. And yeah, some cunt got me there. But yeah, I think the way I see it, Call of Duty isn't what I would say is, you know, it isn't a game where I'm going competitive, and even though, you know, it would seem that case, and you know, but in reality, I'm more for it being, oh, I don't know how to say this, but I think the way I see Black Ops, it's just meant for fun, and I suppose all Call of Duties go by that, but when I've tried to have fun with other Call of Duties, there's always some that bugs me, some that thinks, oh, this is cheap or that's cheap, and the same can be said for Black Ops, but I think when the way I see it, I don't know, probably sound like a broken CD player at this point, but in all regards to Black Ops, I think it's the only Call of Duty where I can actually say I had fun with it, simply because of the fact that it's different, and that is, it's like, you know, for me anyway, it's a lot more enjoyable. Some will say, oh, Modern Warfare was the best Call of Duty, or others will say Modern Warfare 2 is good, and others yet will say in Modern Warfare 3, even Black Ops 2, and that. But I personally think Black Ops probably, for me anyway, did most things right. You know, and to be a bit on the defensive point, you know, I think one thing that people get pissy about was the fact that kill streaks could get you kills, and that. So it was more like, get a few kills, get a few more kills of this, and then get a bunch of kills of this good kill streak, and then hope you get this kill streak, which, you know, will really impress folk, and that. You know, I was never really that kind of person, and that. If I happen to get it, you know, then yay for me. Even more so if I've got a, well, the actual way, you know, for like mere sheer kills, and that. So I suppose for the lack of kills, you know, high kill streaks like 20, 30 or anything like that, you know, they made up for it, like only having the highest kill streak at 11, 10 if you're like going hardline, and that. So yeah, I suppose there's that to be said, and that. But being honest, would you say that Call of Duty is by far the greatest game? You know, first person shooter wise? No, I'm not that fanatical about it. I'm not going to say that, because if I had to say what was defined the first person shooter, you know, call me a nerd for this, but I'd have to say Half-Life is what defined it. Not because, you know, it's great as of right now, but more because of how great and how definitive, revolutionary it was back in its time. Now, I'm probably going to get taking the piss out, because I don't remember the exact date, but I believe it was released sometime either 1999 or 2000, and that, not including the PlayStation version. It wasn't released till about a good 2 or so years later, I think. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think when I first played it, and that, even though there was probably some better first-person shooters like Call of Duty 2, 3, Medal of Honor, games like that, I still found Half-Life to be a first-person shooter that did things differently in a good way, not like just trying to be gimmicky or anything like that, you know? what was gimmicky actually worked and proved to be really interesting and served the game in a good purpose. And that, I still stand by that. I'm probably one of those folk who will want to see Half-Life 3, and recently, I don't know if any of you know about this, but recently it's been announced that Half-Life 3 has been trademarked. Not been developed or released, but it's been trademarked, so there's some skepticism amongst people what that means. Some say it's just so that people can't like make fan games, or others say that they're preparing to develop it in the long run, but who knows. At this rate, I'm thinking it's not going to be released till about the next generation consoles, so I'm going to have to wait for it. But by the time if it gets released in the next generation, I'll probably have a PS4 by then, so yeah. Fun times I'll be hard with that. Anyway, yeah, I ended up with this match of about 47 kills and 4 deaths. I've got better ratios than that before, but you know, I think it was vastly superior to the one before. Cause before this, I had 41 kills and 9 deaths, and that was on a WMD, and at the Snowy Lake level, not some of our area in that, but the Russian base looking one. Anyway, yeah, the last one I thought I might as well show is this unusual glitch that I found. Now I say unusual because originally I discovered this by complete accident. Now I heard about glitches about the gunship, you know, doing all sorts of weird shit, so I thought I might as well try in free for all, since I've seen, because I did play modes other than Beowulf's Classic, which I play about 90% of the time, and even though I played the normal team deathmatch quite a bit too, I never really found any weird glitches to do with the gunship, so I thought, what about if I tried free for all? And so I did, and I think it must have been my second or third match in it, once I started getting good at it, and by chance I happened to be well enough to get a gunship, and for some weird reason I got nearly immediately hit with a rocket about 3 seconds in, and I thought, has someone got a Valkyrie rocket? So when I checked back, it turns out there was no Valkyrie rockets called. Someone just happened to be facing the place at the time, and they saw it called and they just blind fired a rocket, and it happened to hit me. I was thinking, no, that's bloody cheap. But that's not the part that got me wondering what the hell went on. What happened afterwards, I couldn't quite explain at first, because what happened was that once I looked around and I respawned because someone killed me during that, as I was expecting, and I saw my plane still up, and I'm thinking, is someone, you know, is this a hack or something? And because I couldn't quite explain what happened, but apparently no one else could call in any helicopters or anything. Well, Kephardt's helicopters were exceptions and that, but nobody could call in attack helicopters, chopper guns, or any gunships. I was practically invincible. And I think it was just really weird to see such a glitch. And I mean, so what I did is I invited about 8-9 folk to this private match, and once I got enough kills and that, because the way I did it was just basically 1 kill care package, 4 kills Valkyrie rockets, and 7 kills shotgun ships. So I waited until I got a bunch of Valkyrie rockets, and I waited for someone to pull in the gunship, and eventually then I fired away, and eventually, after about 2-3 attempts, I managed to replicate the glitch again, as I've seen here. And like, I think everybody's what the fucking, because they're thinking it's still up, when in fact it's destroyed. Well, I say destroyed, but it wouldn't seem to be that way. So, you know, people are finding it like mad and shooting rockets and all that, but, you know, nothing's been done about it. So, it's like, you know, all the weird shit going on. Oh, tell you, it's absolute madness. But yeah, I think in the long run, I don't know, what I think must have caused a glitch is that there's some sort of like, I think what happens is that when the helicopter comes in, it seems to load some sort of variables for what the chopper can and can't do, and one of those is including the destruction animation for it. Now if you destroy it before it can actually be given, set up the variable to destroy, well, be destroyed, what happens is it'll still carry out the whole like blowing up sort of thing, losing control, but what happens is right after the player loses control of the helicopter, it'll suddenly just stop dead on its tracks, and it'll just quite frankly sit there doing fuck all. But because it was never given the set of whatever caused the thing to be fully blown up, it just sits there doing fuck all. So you know, there's that. But yeah, weird glitches aside though, yeah, I think arguably I'd say Black Ops will be my all-time favourite Call of Duty, and that, yep, better than Modern Warfare, even though I've never played that, but I'm just basing it on the games I have played, and that. So yeah, long story short, I think Call of Duty Black Ops is what really got me into Call of Duty. Even though Modern Warfare 2, I still liked it, but you should see me often quitting for weeks at a time before getting back to it. But with this, I found it quite hard to quit that, so I played this for a good 2-3 months, and even then I went back to it every now and then, rather than quitting it for like weeks on end. So yeah, next time when I do another commentary on that, it'll be Modern Warfare 3. And oh boy, I do have quite a story to tell about that. But anyway, I'll see you then, folks.